Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Tammabhigyaya sasa pradyuttaya gatam muni pujayam asavidivan naradam shura pujitam. Translation: at the auspicious arrival of Sri Narada, Sri Vyasadeva got up respectfully and worshipped him, giving him veneration equal to that given to Brahmaji, the creator. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Vidhi means Brahma, the first created living being. He is the original student as well as professor of the Vedas. He learned it from Sri Krishna and taught Narada first. So Narada is his second acharya in the line of the spiritual disciplic succession. He is the representative of Brahma, and therefore he is respected exactly like Brahma, the father of all vidhis, regulations. Similarly, all other successive disciples in the chain are also equally respected as representatives of the original spiritual master. Thus ends Bhaktivedanta purport of the first canto, fourth chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Appearance of Sri Narada. Before that, it says, as mentioned before, Narada reached the cottage of Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa on the banks of the Saraswati, just as Vyasadeva was regretting his defects. Srila Vyasadeva had written all the Vedic scriptures, but he was not satisfied. So he said, thus the sage, being dissatisfied at heart, at once began to reflect, because he knew the essence of religion. He said within himself, I have, under strict disciplinary vows, unpretentiously worshipped the Vedas, the spiritual master, and the altar of sacrifice. I have also abided by the rulings and have shown the import of disciplic succession through the explanation of the Mahabharata, by which even women, Sudras, and others can see the path of religion. Then, I'm feeling incomplete, though I myself am fully equipped with everything required by the Vedas. This may be because I did not specifically point out the devotional service of the Lord, which is dear both to perfect beings and to the infallible Lord. So this is the prelude to this, receiving Narada Muni. Narada Muni comes, and he is the guru, and the Vyasadeva is the disciple. So Vyasadeva comes after Narada Muni. Narada Muni is initiated by Brahma. So this is our disciplic succession. Narada Vyasa Dasa, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was writing. And then the next chapter is Narada's instruction on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadeva. So in a synopsis, we can understand here that the Srimad Bhagavatam is of crucial importance. Without the Srimad Bhagavatam, we cannot conceive of perfection. We cannot conceive of it, and we should not. Srimad Bhagavatam is crucial, it's essential. Srimad Bhagavatam has such an incredible amount of wisdom that it is surprising how the Srimad Bhagavatam has come to us to give us relief in the anxiety we are in this world. So from this point of view, from this point of view, you take the Srimad Bhagavatam very serious, because that's what gave the relief 5,000 years ago. And it still gives relief. Huh? It still does. So this is amazing, you know. We are listening to the scripture of a book which was propagated already 5,000 years ago to a great soul, greatest of all souls, writer of all the Vedic scriptures. He wrote the Mahabharata, can you imagine? Which is capturing the minds of everybody. Nobody can hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Mahabharata, and not get affected by the emotions which are emanating from the Mahabharata. So therefore, in a similar way, it is unimaginable to think how Srila Vyasadeva, in his maturity of having written all the Upanishads, and Mahabharata means he wrote the Gita already. The Gita already came through his fingers, through his writing pen. And still he was feeling frustrated. What could be the reason? Well, he says it here. Maybe I did not glorify sufficiently the direct service. He described all the karma kanda nuances. The nuances of karma kanda, jnana kanda. They are to investigate everything. What you can achieve by doing this, what you get when you do that, is like study karma. To study the karma world in detail. What do I do to get a beautiful wife? I do this and this and this and this. What do I do to find some treasure in my property? What do I do to get the mercy of having good health? Everything. The karma kanda is the description of the thousands and millions of possibilities. So this is I'm very happy to see 3 of you knitting. This is becoming a fashion. 4, sorry. 4 ladies knitting for Krishna in the class. We have to actually take the camera there to show the devotees around the world how the Krishna knitting has become a beautiful fashion here. Please show your needles here. All the wonderful needlework. Yes, another one. So this is devotional service. You're listening with the ears, and you are serving with the hands simultaneously. It is a very lucky position. It's like perfect, no? All the senses are engaged. Anyhow, so coming back to the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. Puranam Brahma Sangitam. Krishna says, I am the Mahapurana, or the Srimad Bhagavatam. And that book is of such an incredible amount of revelations. It blows your mind. Srimad Bhagavatam has to blow your mind. There's no other option to it, unless you are blind and you don't read it. That's another thing. If you don't read the Srimad Bhagavatam, then of course you will not find out anything. But the Srimad Bhagavatam is being recited in Vrindavan all the time. All the time. People are going to the Harikatha description, which are all based on the Srimad Bhagavatam. As a matter of fact, Krishna lore, Krishna Lila better said, because lore has a kind of a fictional connotation. The Krishna Lila is of that type that it will enlighten you in all the aspects you may aspire for. There's so much light in the Krishna Lila. And Krishna is always coming and pulling us to the final conclusion of everything. Because, as it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Savasya Chahangli Desani Vishnu Natasmitya Gyanamapuanam Cha Vedaischa Sarvair Am Eva Vedyo Vedanta Krit Vedavid Eva Cham. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is the direct information. It's the home information on Krishna. Otherwise, everything is nice. There's so much information about Brahman and the Upanishads and so on. But about Krishna's private world, his own love world, that can only be found out and appreciated in the light. By the profoundly honest devotee. They will take this to heart. They will find out. They will follow Narada Muni and persevere. And if you have any doubt about this, then you have to read the Srimad Bhagavatam to overcome this doubt. Because there is the answer. And what an answer. 16,000 verses. What an answer, my God. This is unbelievable, that answer, which is coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. Which is just so profound and extensive. It will give, I mean, you can practically ask anything you want. Srimad Bhagavatam will answer it. Such a book it is. It's not only like giving you, like Atatu Brahma Jigyasa. This human form of life is meant for self-realization. Okay. I know that now. But it is only, then now what? It's self-realization. What does that mean? Well, Srimad Bhagavatam gives the answer to every question. And Srila Prabhupada, our great Acharya, he gave us the insight to understand what are the questions and what are the answers. Because mostly of us, we don't even know how to ask questions. Even that's already too much for us, to ask the right questions. Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita is all questions and answers, no? Arjuna is asking the questions, Krishna is giving the answers. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there's so many different conversations. Maitreya Rishi, and Vidura, Shrutta Goswami, and sages in Naimisharanya. It's incredible. And what are their questions? The same questions you have. What to do? Parikshit Maharaj has a question. I'm dying in 7 days. What to do with those 7 days? What shall I do in those 7 days? We always behave like we have 7,000 years ahead of us, but as a matter of fact, we only have 20, 30, 40 years, and that's it. Or maybe only 2 days. How do we know how much time we have? Nobody can tell. I want to tell all of you, please inform everybody tomorrow. We have to be very early out. Practically, like we go out here so early, we don't take breakfast here. We take breakfast at Vrindavan. Vrindavan is the famous Khichdi festival. And we go there to clean and to put Hiranyaklastipu in action in Vrindavan. Yes.
We need one Mataji to repair the dress of Hiranyaklastipu.
We need a Mataji sounds like Lalita.
Lalita.
No, who's the best? Who's the best? Badri, we can give a room to Prishni in the guest house. It's too cold up here. We have? Sure, no? Hmm? Who? Narasingha, okay. But I don't see him, so I'm looking at you.
We need a volunteer to repair the. We need a volunteer to repair the outfit of Hiranyaklastipu.
Who will repair the outfit of Hiranyaklastipu?
Quizá lo dice en español, Gurudeva, porque las madres.
¿Quién hace el voluntariado para hacer el vestido de Hiranyaklastipu bien espectacular? Achala. Achala es teatro personificado, eso va a salir bien. Si lo hacemos algo. ¿Y por qué se rompe tan fácil? Porque lo empujan todo siempre en una bolsa, ¿no?
No, es porque igual la capa es plástico, Gurudeva, y ya de tanto usarla se va abriendo.
Bueno, le vamos a conseguir más. Tiene que ser más amplio, más sólido.
Un borde. Un borde tejido. Toca comprar lana negra.
So you're a very fortunate person if you have connection with the Srimad Bhagavatam. So you should, like myself, I was in a problem. I will tell you what I did. Because Srimad Bhagavatam has so many books. And with Prabhupada's purpose, you're talking here about, how many books are there? 30? Something like that. Or maybe even more, 30, 40. So I thought, how can I read that? Because in the classes, in the temple, we always read the same first canto. Some temples, they go through all the cantos, but then somebody joins and he starts listening at the seventh canto or something. So usually most classes at the first canto. So like we are giving class today from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. But I wanted to read the whole thing because Prabhupada told us my books are not just for distribution, they are for reading. So I said, how are you going to do that? So I made my vow. I will read all of Prabhupada's books. So I went to sleep at 8:30. And I got up at 2. And I chanted my rounds. And before Mangalartik, I was already reading 1 hour. Then after Mangalartik, another hour. Until class. Because I already had chanted my rounds. No? So then came the class. So I had like 2 to 3 hours reading every day. And nobody could complain to me because it was most people's sleeping time. And I just went to bed early. Class finished. I went to bed. So this way I got to read all of Prabhupada's books, Chaitanya Charitamrita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And I must say that it was worth it. It was definitely worth it to make this special austerity. Because, if you read in the day, then people say, hey, we have to do so much service to do and all that, no? And there is service factually, so it doesn't fit so well into unless you're living in a bhajan kutia somewhere alone, which devotees don't do generally. So we needed this and we did it. This is what is necessary. It is necessary to read the books. And it's necessary to learn some shlokas. This is the greatest treasure. We do not have a bigger treasure. If I have a big block of gold here, I say, come on, I give you 2 kilos. I give you 2 kilos, everybody. Now, are you happy? I don't know how much value 2 kilos of gold have today. I have no ideas. I'm not a gold market conscious person, but I think it's a lot of money. So those 2 kilos of gold means I would be giving nothing to you. But I give you Srimad Bhagavatam. I give you millions and millions of kilos of gold. Cannot compare to Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, do you think I'm just a fool? Do you think this guy's an idiot? How can he think that so much gold will be less valued than the Srimad Bhagavatam? Well, first of all, I say it on authority because I've heard it. But I also say it because I believe it. And I also say it because I've experienced it. This is so nice, this spiritual life. Unique and nice spiritual life. And it comes from the Srimad Bhagavatam. India's music comes from Srimad Bhagavatam. Every raga has a meaning in the Krishna Lila. Right? It's the origin of India's architecture. All the sculptures, everything you see, all the great personalities, the Vedic gods, they're all from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Can all be found there. All the dance style. India has many dance styles. And they're all connected with Krishna Lila, practically. Bharatanatyam, yes. Kathak, yes. Mohiniyattam, yes. Odissi, yes. What other dance style is that there in India? You dancers should know. Manipuri, yes. Kathakali is more Mahabharata. But Mahabharata, this is also Veda, it's the same. So here we got 6, I think there's 10 different dance styles. Kathak is one, and there's a few more other less known. But all the dancing, the folk dancing of India is based on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sanatana Dharma is Srimad Bhagavatam. So if everything is coming from Srimad Bhagavatam, how important it is to know the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is really crucial. Crucial thing to know the Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's why we invite you all to take it seriously, Srimad Bhagavatam. Now we have the 1 volume version, and of course we have the internet versions, the PDF versions. I personally am not fond of reading on the internet anything. Texts on the internet are very, very, very troublesome, difficult. But we have to read the Bhagavatam somehow. No, but like for a person who's traveling different places, no. Then you should get a Kindle. A Kindle is made for reading, and it's not so bad. So I permit you, go and get a Kindle and read the Srimad Bhagavatam if you cannot have. If you're sitting in one place and you have the books there, then read the books. That is the best way, no? But if you are traveling a lot and you don't have all the books, then read the Kindle version. So what can we do for the Srimad Bhagavatam? What can we do for Vyasadeva? What can we do for Srila Vyasa? For Radharani? We can become students like Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva was saved by Radharani. You and me, we can also be saved if you take it to heart what these sages are teaching. What does it mean exactly? That is a lifetime of study. Practically, to say what the Srimad Bhagavatam teaches in a few words, in a few classes, impossible. It's a whole lifetime. And there's so many summaries, like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It's actually a summary of the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna. Any questions? How do you feel about this morning? Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's be honest, who has read the entire first canto? Ladies? Who has read the entire second canto? Third, fourth. Just see. It's not easy. I took it. I said, I make the austerity. I read those books. I want to know what my spiritual master wrote in those books. Because my spiritual master, and my spiritual master is your spiritual master. Don't forget that. Never forget that. I don't write any books. I write a few treatises for practical applications like that. Manuals. But I don't write books on Shastra. I don't write books on Leela. I have no qualification for that. So therefore, when we're talking about books and we're talking about who's our guru, Srila Prabhupada is our. We have to understand that. Sometimes, there's some people, even in India, you find, they will say this guru, that guru. Yeah, there's plenty of gurus. But then there's some gurus that would say, Prabhupada is not so good. He's just one of many. It's not true. Prabhupada is the person to make sure our spiritual life goes well. He's giving us the guidance. He's giving us a complete, comprehensive package. And we have to learn from him. And all the gurus, they can only be as good as they are coming in the line of Srila Prabhupada. And if they don't have a special respect for Srila Prabhupada, then I don't want to be too closely associated with them. Questions? What are your questions, my friends? If there's no questions, there's two versions. The one thing is, you are pure devotee, you have understood everything. And the other version is, you didn't understand anything. So you have no question. I don't know in which category you fit. And I realized after some time in Krishna consciousness, the president of the temple, he will not make sure that you read all the Srimad Bhagavatam. You have to do that on your own. Certain things in life, we have to do them on our own. Yes, that's what I'm waiting for.
En los primeros versos del primer canto dice en el segundo, este Srimad Bhagavatam ha sido escrito por el gran sabio Vyasadeva. Entonces, ¿Vyasadeva está escribiendo de sí mismo o alguien más está escribiendo?
Vyasadeva is writing about himself.
Dice, la forma de escritura está hablando de Vyasadeva en tercera persona.
You see the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vedas, they are completely an oral literature. They have been given by the gurus to the disciples. You know, I don't know how long ago these palm leaves started showing up. You know, the palm leaves. I don't know how they were writing down before, because there's no evidence to that. There's nothing found. We only know the palm leaves. So a great amount of the Vedas is oral transmission. And as such, so what the question you are asking is irrelevant, because whoever teaches this will include his guru. Like it says, the guru is included in the sacredness of the transmission. So if somebody, Rupa Goswami, will say, he would say, Vyasadeva, Rama, Narada, he will include that. And so, like in the song of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he presents the Guru Parampara. So if somebody says, and then it was told by him to him, and then it was told by him to him, and that was, so in this way it was told. So at the time when Vyasadeva wrote it down, what he actually wrote down, who can tell? We don't have those scripts in our hands. So maybe he presented it a little different than it's now when it's speaking about him. So that could be one verse to say why we don't have an exact, clear-cut understanding who is writing and who is listening. But the fact is it's there, and everybody who writes should be very humble and think that I'm an instrument. Vyasadeva is an instrument. Narada Muni is an instrument. Brahma is an instrument. Everybody is an instrument of the divine will. So we are getting that information by...
The line is Srimad Bhagavatam Mahamuni. Vyasadeva is calling himself as a Mahamuni.
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Most likely not.
Then the Mayavadis, they are not accepting Bhagavatam or Puranas because they say that they were not written by Vyasadeva. So these are not theirs.
And they are written by Bhagavatam. That Bhagavatam is written by Vyasadeva, but it has been transmitted by the disciplic succession in such a way as we have it now. Whoever doesn't accept the Srimad Bhagavatam, he doesn't accept the Krishna Lila, he's a fool. Because it's so obviously, Krishna says that I am the source of the Veda, and all the Vedas is there to understand me. So if somebody says, oh, we don't accept this, we don't accept that, what can we say, you know? We only know one thing, and that is that the spiritual teachers have given the spiritual truths on the power of their inspiration. Krishna Shakti Vinana Hetala Pravartan. Only if somebody is empowered, then he can be part of this and transmit this transcendental knowledge. It's not possible on intellectual accruals. It has to be authorized from the higher sector. Then this can take place. There's no restriction. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting with the tigers and with the deer. And they all became initiated by him when they heard the holy name from him. So, then you say, who is initiating tigers and deers right now? Well, we don't know, but he did. And in Vrindavan there is some deer also. They're also hearing the holy name of Krishna. Bharata. We should get rid of the idea of chronological understanding. Because there's no way of chronological understanding. Intellectualism is not allowed in this realm. It doesn't make sense. Like you asking, who was filming and where were the films kept? So we can have a real evidence of what happened when and where in those sacred transmissions. Are you satisfied with these answers, my dear? It's tough. It's really tough. How does it work? Logically, sequentially? What happened when, where, and that, and how? How was it documented? How was it saved? Like, I'm always afraid that our hard disk crash and all the work of the past will be lost. And we're talking just about insignificant work, not like the Vedas, no, Srimad Bhagavatam, no. So, very good to know that it didn't depend on the hard disk. The Vedas did not depend on the storage capacity. They are just the revelation of divine grace, and this is still going on. Discard the mind of investigation and embrace the heart of oral reception with submission and say, thank you, Nitai. Thank you, God. Thank you, Prabhupada, for giving me this divine knowledge. It's great. Look at it. Every verse, every sloka is a miracle. Fantastic. I mean, when I read Prabhupada, and not only the verses, Prabhupada's purpose are just as fantastic as the verses. They are just in giving this information and that information, that information, that information. So no more questions, and let's have kirtan. Kirtan. Yes, there's a question. Oh, very good. I'm waiting for questions.
Ayer estaba leyendo sobre la conciencia y la fe. Entonces, la pregunta es, ¿la fe es como la conciencia es una cualidad del alma? Hace parte de la naturaleza del alma, ¿sí? La conciencia, el alma,
Sí.
la existencia. Entonces, la fe pertenece como una característica, una cualidad del alma también natural.
Exactamente. This is the essence of Oida therapy. That faith is an ingredient, a soul ingredient. And by that faith, we are here. By this faith, we do seva. By this faith, we take prasadam. By this faith, we journey to India. By this faith, we are brahmacharis, grihastas, vanaprasthas, sannyasis. It's all by faith. Our faith is our top ingredient for proceeding in life. And even like in some of the chapters of Oida therapy, we study the original faith, like in the child state, when the child is like crying, and he's getting something to eat. So he has faith, if I cry again, I get something to eat again. So therefore he cries. But that's faith, that's not instinct. Like the materialists, they call faith often instinct. Or he's doing this just out of instinct. But like the little bird, the little bird is sitting there, first fly. And he has wings already, no? They grew up, no? But now the jump and to try the first flight. Can you imagine what the little bird is feeling? But it has faith, it works. And then in that faith, he learns how to fly. You please don't try this out. Because you have no feathers. That is the problem. Except the diploma you have. So, but there's faith required. No? And I tell you, I'm sure some birds, they have an accident and they crash in their first flight.
Porque uno escucha que la fe es un regalo de Srimad Radharani. Un regalo
For everybody.
Algo que, claro, entonces un regalo es algo que uno no tiene. Como la naturaleza del alma, uno escucha Sat Chit Ananda. Esos son los componentes esenciales, su naturaleza. Pero la fe es un regalo que ella da a uno.
But that's an extra faith. The faith in Krishna, in worship of deity. That faith is a special gift of Radharani. That's additional. But we as living beings, we have all the potential of reaching to this bhakti level. So therefore, it's from the very beginning. It's the faith. It's the gift of Radharani. But when it develops to the point of taking shelter of Vaishnava and starting to do worship of Krishna, reading the Veda, that is Radharani's special gift. That's why she's called sraddha-devi. And sraddha-devi's expansion, she's like Durga. Durga is omnipresent. She's involved with every living being, with every birth anybody takes. She's always there. We cannot exclude Durga from anything. Parvati. But they are all aspects of Radharani. That's what we have received from Prabhupada, this information. That actually what Srila Maharaj once said, that was very interesting. He said that actually we are Shaktas. We are worshippers of the female energy. We are worshippers of this omnipresence, divine female, shelter-giving, Ashraya Vigraha is Radharani. She's the personification of shelter-giving. So she's the ashram, ashraya, refuge. If you want to go out into this world, it's only one hope you can do that. You have to have a grihasta, ashram. It means again ashram, again Radharani is there. No? And she's giving shelter in this family environment, which hopefully is Krishna conscious. So it's a real shelter, no? A real grihastha ashram, it's a spectacular thing. It's like another unit of Krishna, no? When a real couple makes a house in Krishna consciousness, have children, have an altar, have programs and all this is another unit. It's different than a mandir with brahmacharis and all that, but it's a fully valid unit if they're Krishna conscious. So in this way, always we need this ashram shelter. Always we need this environment, spiritual environment. That Radharani's expansion, multiple expansions.
En ese sentido, Gurudeva, si la fe es un regalo y hay otras cosas que son un regalo. Una vez escuché que a Mahaprabhu no le gustaba que le repitan mucho algo porque como que se aburre de que le piden algo, ¿no? Porque a la final uno también tiene que hacer un esfuerzo para que Krishna en algún momento, cuando quiera, nos dé su misericordia, ¿no? Pero entonces, ahí uno como mide, le sigo cansando hasta que me dé lo que le pido, o uno espera ahí con paciencia que él abra su misericordia.
Tranquila, Bhakti. El punto es el siguiente. Krishna es eterno y también tú lo eres.
Ok, es bien.
Krishna is eternal and you are also eternal. So Krishna has to He has to live with the reality that you exist eternally. Krishna can't get rid of you, and you can't get rid of Krishna. Now, if you want to forget him temporarily, he can give you even the million years of some demigod's existence, everything he can. But he is eternal and you are eternal, so there's nothing he can do about it. And there's nothing he wants to do about it except giving you mercy. That's our faith. Our faith tells us that Krishna is our eternal Lord, and he's not the Lord of a few and not the Lord of some other. So we're just learning how to cry. Cry for mercy. Forgive me, my Lord. I've committed so many stupidities. Please, give me your mercy anyway. I need your mercy. Without your mercy, I cannot go on. My existence is hopeless. And that's what the devotees said to me. More questions? Come on. Now the ice is breaking a little bit. The minds are starting working. This morning we went to Ramanuja Acharya temple of a friend of mine. He's an old sadhu. He's like Ridai in the sense that he moves with crutches. But he's the guru. He's the guru of his ashram, and very powerful and well-known guru. He's from a Ramanuja Sampradaya. He's our neighbor. So this morning we walked by his temple and we wanted to go to Govindaji, but he waved us in, come in. So I never been in that temple, so I said, come on, let's go check it out. And so we joined his morning program, all his dandavats and all the things he made, like we do here also. No? in our Mangal Artik, and it was very nice, very sweet, and we were very happy to have the feeling. But the puja is different in Vishnu Sampradaya, in Ramanuja Sampradaya. They do different. They're not doing it the same way like we do it in Gaudiya Sampradaya. But in a sense, it's the same. You can see, in a sense, it's the same. Just a little different artik, like they were offering tulsis. Tons of tulsis they were throwing at the Lord's lotus feet. We just put a little tulsi here and there, but they were just throwing tulsi on the Lord, like on one up to the other, one up to the other.